This is Mrs. O'Neill for Chapter 12, Section 2, Part 3, your practice problems. So make sure to have out your real periodic table, your ion chart periodic table, your calculator. I have a few reminders to follow this slide before you proceed to actually doing the practice problems. So just as a reminder, this is going to be your setup. I want to remind you that you can start at any one of these quantities. You're going to use that new mole ratio step to get from your substance given or your substance A to your substance B or the substance that you want, right? This is to get us to go from substance that we have to substance that we want, right? Using the balanced chemical equation. This is the only time we are using that mole ratio. So remember, this beginning step is mole island. Then we're going to use that new mole ratio step and then back to mole island to end at any one of those quantities. Again, this should be your thought process. You're starting at any one of these particles, mass or volume, and you're going to moles using mole island, using that mole ratio. That's that new step going from substance A to substance B. Remember, the unit is the same, moles to moles, but this is where we're going from one substance to another using the coefficients from your balanced equation, and then using mole island again to go from moles back to one of those quantities. So also you want to include number, unit, and substance in all parts of that dimensional analysis stoichiometry setup. That mole ratio, once again, is the only time to use those coefficients from the balanced chemical equation. So this is what I suggest you do. Obviously, you're going to pause the video to do the problems and then play to check your answers. However, for numbers 1 through 3, again, I'm going to show you step by step like the example problems, and the rest I'm just going to show you the solutions and the work. So you might want to do numbers 1 through 3, check those answers first, make sure you're on the right track, and then finish the problems. That's just a strong suggestion. So make sure to pause and do the problems. So here we go, our numbers 1 through 3, if you haven't paused and done so already. But again, I'm going to show you things little by little for these problems. And then the rest of the problems, I'm just going to show you the answer straight out. So for number 1, do you have that balanced chemical reaction? Then did you find where that question mark goes with the unit and your starting point with the unit? So again, we have that balanced equation. I pulled out all the information I need from all of those words in the word problem, and now I can focus on just the reaction and the information I put in there. So I'm going to start with my 17.16 grams of the iron trioxide. And again, I have a number, I have a unit, and the substance. I'm going to go from grams to moles of that substance using the molar mass. My next step is the new mole ratio step, and that's going to get me from moles of the iron trioxide to moles of just that iron of what I want. This is the only step that we are using the coefficients for. We don't want moles though. We want to go back to grams of iron. So again, the formula mass of iron is 55.85. And now we can do the math. Again, reminder to go in order. So you're going to take your 17.16 divided by 1 times 1 divided by 159.7 times 4 divided by 2 times the 55.85 divided by the 1, and you can equal, hopefully you got 12.00 grams of iron. So again, number, unit, substance in all parts. The first step is your mole island, and that's why it's to 1 mole. Your last step is mole island, and that's why it's 1 mole. This mole ratio, that middle step, that new step, is the only time you're using the coefficients from the balanced equation. All right, number 2, again, hopefully you came up with that balanced equation from the words. You put the question mark with molecules for hydrogen and the 158 grams for the methane. Then here's the problem. We're going to start with the grams to moles, so we need that molar mass or formula mass of CH4. And then we're going to use our mole ratio, that step that gets us from the methane to the hydrogen. Again, the unit is the same of moles, but the substance now changes. And we don't want moles of hydrogen, we want molecules. So again, thinking about mole island, we're going to use Avogadro's number in order to get there. Then we're going to do the mathematics in our calculator. Again, everything at one shot, include the ones, and make sure you go in order. Answer is 1.78 times 10 to the 25th molecules of hydrogen. Number 3, again, this is going to be the last time I'm going to show you step by step. So you should have gotten the balanced equation, our question mark and liters this time underneath ammonia, and our 1.4 liters of oxygen. In this case, we're dealing with 2 reactants. So we have 1.4 liters of oxygen as our starting point. If we're dealing with liters and mole island, our magic number to deal with is 22.4. Then we're going to go from oxygen to ammonia for that with that 4 to 5 mole ratio. And since we don't want moles, we want liters to help us do our measurement. We're going to again use that 22.4. And we're having an answer of 1.12 liters of ammonia. All right, at this point, hopefully that makes sense. Again, doing it step by step. Now I would pause the video if you haven't done so already and finish the problems 4 through 10. Hopefully you paused the video. Hopefully you came up with that balanced equation. You did the question mark. You did your starting point with your reactions and then showed all the work. So again, here's number 4 and everything is all at one shot. Number 5. Again, hopefully you're pausing and you're checking all of your work. Again, I've included number, unit, and substance with every single part, as well as the answer. Number 6. Number 7. And yes, it was a combustion reaction, but I just did it in the order that they gave me in the problem. So you might have CH4 plus 2 O2s, and that's fine, as long as you have your question mark and your starting point under the correct thing. I just like to put as much stuff in order as they give it to me. Number 8. Number 9. And number 10. Okay, and again, this is not the end. I have, yep, you got it, a quickie quiz. So again, pause the video. Number 1, it's already balanced equation, but see if you, starting with 2.4 moles of oxygen, how many moles of water would be produced. So hopefully you paused the answer, you did a little bit of work and came up with 2. Number 2, again, a little bit more reading here, but pause the video and see if you can come up with an answer A, B, C, or D. Again, hopefully you paused and did the work and got A as your answer. A little bit more work involved there, but hopefully you did that, again, for practice. And number 3, again, going back to the airbags that we started with in the very, very beginning. So hopefully this made a little bit more sense now, kind of wrapping everything up. Hopefully you paused and you did the work and got your answer of C, 7.74 grams. All right, guys, we'll see you later.